Smart janitorials group stalking with LAPD who's sounding helicopter activity. Oops, excuse me. I'm gonna take this something real quick. This is P.O.C. Here's the light source. LAPD sounding helicopter activity. What I want to remind you about, first of all, this is activity creation, and the demons come and focus on my doorstep. They hurry up and rush, and I want to let you know why. The entity that's monitoring on the video, the internet, is mindful of what I'm about to let you know about what I documented about the demon-possessed agency engaged in what is federal stalking, criminal monitoring on the internet, and also state surveillance with the people of the state. And that's why I was able to capture the light source at the same venue. This is Starbucks located at 706 West Holt Boulevard, where you have already seen the evidence of what is the light source that's over me at that same exact Starbucks at 7:52 in the morning, 7:51 in the morning. So at this same Starbucks where the light source would never, where the sun would never still be present at 1:21 in the afternoon, 1:29 in the afternoon, while they are engaging in the pattern of conduct. And Starbucks is a third-party facilitating venue that's capturing the phenomenon. And also, it's also corroborating evidence as the demon-possessed agencies engage in what is stalking and harassment and terrorism, arriving in a helicopter as they're monitoring on your communication device, and they're fully anticipating the video that I'm about to capture right now. So let me just specify the time. It's 1:27. You just saw that light source that's hovering over my apartment. I'm located at 1806 North Alvarado Street in in Los Angeles, California. And just so that you know, this is the same hillside where the sun was rising. This is what the entity's doing. The demonic imitation of the natural environment. This is where the sun was rising. It was nowhere near Starbucks at 706 West Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California, like the documentation that's already on the record that I've already used as a vivid illustration for you. There's no sunrise at Starbucks. And there's no sunrise and sun remaining from 7:52 in the morning until after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, by the way. There's no sunrise at Starbucks while the sun is here at 7 o'clock in the morning rising and aiming light into my apartment. And you know that. And you also know that it's not the natural environment when you're seeing the traces of light that's stalking with light. And that's exactly what's happening at Starbucks. Starbucks is monitoring American citizens. This is what you need to understand. There are no exceptions to that pattern of conduct. And at the brand of Starbucks, a third-party facilitating venue where you have demons preparing your lattes, okay, preparing your chais, your coffee, whatever you order from there, they're monitoring. And it's not funny, I'm so serious, because this is exactly what the documentation shows. And not only are they monitoring, not only are they engaging in what is demonic, and it's not just this Starbucks. I've documented the Starbucks on Euclid Avenue in Ontario. It's not just in Ontario. I documented at Starbucks in Pomona, California. That's what happened on March 22nd, 2022, when I'm encountering the demons of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, by the way. All of the pattern of conduct is underway, and I was subject to sexual violence by UPS, a demon that's using that vehicle as a means of audible and light activity in relevant position group stalking. That's a demon that just hops out to maintain the elements of monitoring while the targeted individual is in their path. They're getting in the path to engage in monitoring while your panties are down. That's what UPS was engaging in. While I was inside of the private space, I was inside of the Starbucks in Pomona. I've also documented the pattern of conduct at Starbucks in Montclair, California. All of these are venues where the sun is never going to be present because the entity is rising and setting the sun here in Los Angeles, remaining over the property, rising and setting visible through the windows in my apartment, 1806 North Alvarado Street, for 12 hours. All right. And on September 21st, 2021, during daylight savings time, the exact same time, 1:21 p.m., 1:12 p.m., I'm going to upload that video because the light source is here. You already know that. But I want you to see them engaging in criminal summoning. These are hostile demons who are being documented, and they despise the fact that they're being documented, and I don't care. They're criminals. Those are the psychopaths, okay? They want to act passive-aggressive, but then they get upset when you're capturing the fact that they're sex offenders and they're criminals, all right? And the entity is engaging in what is criminal summoning. You're engaged in the pattern of conduct, and then this is the psychopath. They're stalking you day and night in helicopters. They're flying in front of you, stalking you, flying for 47 minutes in helicopters, and then the entity is summoning itself to come and harass and threaten you and engage in what is a threat to engage in kidnapping. And they're monitoring and stalking you. That's the psychopathic conduct, the pattern of conduct, criminal summoning, and that's why you go to federal prison for that. That's what Starbucks engaged in. The Ontario Police Department engaged in heavy-duty stalking and terrorism designed to psychologically torture the target individual, just like the Los Angeles Police Department is doing. And the Ontario Police Department did it in that same specific environment where the light source was both rising and setting wherever it was that I was at, including if it remained at the same address, such as the Ontario Museum of History and Arts at Holt Boulevard and Euclid Avenue, where I'm capturing the light source rising over me as early as 7 in the morning, and I'm at that same intersection, at that same museum after 7 p.m. And so on this day, I want to get back to it because it's currently it's 1:30 p.m. So this is the exact same time. 1:21 p.m. you'll see the video. I'm going to upload it to the Compare the P.O.C. folder. And at 1:29 p.m. I'm going to upload that video, and you already know what's going on here. The entity is maintaining a light source in its zenith. You see it outside of my living room bedroom, as though all of these minions live in the natural environment, and the sun is rising and setting at one address. This is speaking to what is a massive system of state surveillance, where the police department is stalking in helicopters. This is a criminal system that's a matter of surveillance and intended to psychologically torture the ordinary target individual. And that's how you have it, what is the same time, the light source that's hovering now over the back portion of my apartment. Understand that these buildings are not so thin such that being outside of the back portion is going to be the same as being outside of the front portion. This light source is moving in real time, and it's nowhere near the parking lot in its zenith over my head at 706 West Holt Boulevard, where you're looking at the entity engaging what is criminal summoning. And I'm naming those actors. You can see them clearly on camera, and they're going to federal prison. Wherever they are, the federal government's going to find them. The entity is engaging in what is an ongoing threat to your life and liberty and safety, while they being the state that pursues you, engages in what is psychologically torturing you, pursuing you, and threatening you by helicopters and sirens everywhere that you're going, surrounded by the environment day and night, and then engaging in what is summoning that entity that's placing you under surveillance because they're hostile psychopaths who are mad about the fact that you're enforcing your rights. That's what criminal summoning is, and that's the conduct of a psychopath, for real. That's a stalker that's then mad because you're going to enforce your rights because they're stalking you. That's exactly what the police are doing, and that's what criminal summoning is all about. It is designed to threaten your life and your safety, and it very easily and rapidly results in what is the creation of a false narrative. You have a whole bunch of hostile minions, third parties, demon-possessed ones, who make up information and they verify it amongst themselves. You end up losing your liberty. The entity engages in kidnapping while engaging in what is literally the exercise of fictitious authority, while the government is engaged in a matter of public corruption, making up court hearings, rapidly ending up in what is the mental facility. That's rapidly how it can definitely accumulate into what is something that is definitely a threat to your liberty, life, and your physical safety and well-being. That is also designed to psychologically torture and intimidate and deter the target individual from enforcing their rights. Okay, it is a matter of justice with regard to federal prison, engaging in criminal summoning, and this Starbucks in particular at 706 West Holt, very, very heavily documented, engaged in what is harassment as an entity, engaging in sexual violence as an entity, engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and criminal summoning. And that's exactly what was documented. And at 1:29 p.m., you'll see the Ontario Police monitoring with the people of the state at 706 West Holt, where my documentation also shows that same address, the sun is rising. Or so that's what it's supposed to appear like. It's a demonic imitation of the environment while an entity is stalking with light in the whole environment. Just like you saw inside of my apartment, stalking with light, that's exactly what an entity is doing with a light source. And that's why it's here from the beginning to the end of the day. And by the way, it's already on this side of the building. And so you're talking about what's 5 hours from now? It's still on this side of the building, visible through my bedroom window. Nowhere near, by the way, the Starbucks at 706 West Holt, which I have documentation showing that the entity acting as though the sun is setting through the windows of 706 West Holt Boulevard. That is documentation complete, rising and setting, as though the sun is ever going to do that, and as though that's going to coexist with remaining at Alvarado Gardens and visible at Alvarado Gardens, creating any sunlight on the property at Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles, visible even through my bedroom window and my living room window from the beginning to the end of the day. All right, the Ontario Police Department, they are going to be disbanded just like the Los Angeles Police Department, engaging in an identical behavior pattern in concert with the people of the state. Demons that are pacing all around in engineered light. That's not the sun that's over them while they're engaging in criminal summoning. And this is not the sun, the natural environment that's over them. This is the engineered light that you see on my ceiling. That's what covers the grounds. And that's easily identifying those that are going to federal prison. All 59 units here are going to federal prison. All right, and they're acting with they're systematically engaging in surveillance and federal stalking in violation of Title 18 with LAPD, who flew in a circle in relevant position to my window, communicating a threat to my life and safety for 47 minutes. And they are still to date engaging in that act of terrorism. You saw the demon possessed, including Center for Better Life, including Emiko Nagasaku and Luis Ramos in the custody of a child while doing so, engaging in what is crossing path and engineer light moving all across this building, like light is ever gonna ricochet off of your vehicle because the sun is over you. But you also know that it's not the sun, because I'm reminding you about in an entirely different region, the light source is in that same position over me somewhere else. Those are demons, and demons like to engage in summoning the entity that's stalking you in helicopters, and those demons go to federal prison, period. All right, it is currently 1:35 p.m. This is P.O.C. I'm going to upload those videos where you can see the iteration of the pattern of conduct, distinct from what is ever going to be over Alvarado Gardens. This is the environment where Center for Better Life, that's LA County, comes to participate in criminal activity. This is the venue where UPS, knowing that it's been documented, and arrives not coincidentally to participate in that criminal system of criminal surveillance to inflict further psychological torture. That's what UPS was engaging in when they're arriving at the venue under a light source that's nowhere near 706 West Holt Boulevard in Ontario at any time of day, based on what the entity is doing here. And this is a demonic imitation of the natural environment. You're learning about demonic activity. You're learning about the demon possessed, and they're not what is depicted on television, appearing to have lipstick smeared all over their face, or incapable of speaking anything other than gibberish, or looking disheveled. That has nothing to do with demon possession. All right, this is POC.